Are you serious?
No! Are you serious?
Are you serious?
Are you serious?
Oh my days.
We're finally back.
6 months in the making. Oops. Oops.
Kept you waiting, huh?
Yeah, definitely we're going to come back the week after. We said next week we'll be back for this.
I bet you in the last video, did we say like, oh yeah, we'll be back like next week?
We say it like after every video. We'll see you next week.
We'll see you next
such
week.
and
Yeah.
such.
And then
we
it's like,
do it.
yeah, like, nah, I'll see you in 6 months maybe or something.
But now we are back.
We are back.
This time we are officially back.
And judging from the title of the video, you know what we're going to talk about.
Yep.
And what's that?
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
Which we watched yesterday. Sunday. Today is Monday.
About what? Like 2 weeks after it's come out, basically?
Yeah, so basically all the spoilers we tried to avoid spoilers as best we could. We saw a few.
Yeah.
Nothing too damaging, I guess.
No. But, so
but nice things.
I think first of all, like, just going throughout this video, there's going to be spoilers. Like,
yeah.
I think honestly,
big spoiler alert.
Yeah. If you haven't seen the movie, go and see it.
Get out of your room. Go touch some grass.
Yeah. Stop playing Genshin Impact and playing League of Legends. What was slaying Chris?
Because Chris plays all of these games.
He's watching this video right now and he's just like.
But he gets a call out at least.
Oh, true. Shout out to Ed. Love you, bro. Anyway, right, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Deadpool and Wolverine.
I'm going to say, first of all, this is the best one out of the three.
Yep.
This is definitely the best
I agree.
out of the three by quite a lot, I think.
Yeah, I watched the second one.
I haven't seen it since it came out, the second one, and the first one.
I watched the second one like 4 or 5 days ago.
Yeah.
Just on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Nice and easy. Because obviously we were going to watch this, so I was like, well, I might as well watch that. It's going
to
have some sort of
because you only had seen the first one, so you needed to watch the second one, really.
Yep.
Do you think you need to watch the second one for this movie?
Yes and no, but you could probably get away with it.
You probably need to see Loki more than anything.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough.
Otherwise, you'll be like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
But no, like Deadpool 2, like I said, I watched the other day. Wasn't as good as the first one, but it's still a fun watch.
Yeah.
So, but based on what people were saying, they were saying this one was Deadpool Wolverine was going to be the best of the three. That's what was kind of said whilst we were waiting to watch it, and it kind of lives up to that hype.
Yeah.
It did. It was a very good film.
If you're a bit upset about how Marvel movies have been for ages, like go and see this movie and you won't be disappointed. Like
this is kind of their return to form.
They actually finally made a good movie for a change. So we said it's a good movie, right? But why is it good? Why do you think Deadpool and Wolverine is a good movie?
I think it's just more they didn't care about what people thought about it. In one aspect, because it's R-rated, they can get away with a lot of things. Obviously, Ryan Reynolds, he's a natural person to play Deadpool.
He also is involved in directing it, and producing, or whatever.
Obviously, he kind of wanted his redemption after playing the original Deadpool. Which was a load of crap.
There's some nice nods to this film to like the old Fox films as well, and there's some really funny moments to do with like how all these characters, the X-Men, were like under Fox, and now they're basically under Disney now. So some good funny moments around that. But
I think also just that it was just written well for once.
Yeah, I tell you what, this one flowed
the
best out of the three. Like even I don't remember the second and first one that much, but I remember this one was so smooth, so easy to follow, you know, and like they paced it really well, like really good action scenes, but not too much.
They didn't have to make it like 2.5, 3 hours long either.
Yeah,
it was 2 hours 8 minutes, which makes it about 2 hours with credits.
Yeah.
And it probably didn't need to be any longer than that. To be honest, like it had the right amount of whatever they wanted to put in it, the right amount of cameos, the right amount of storytelling. Run amount of action scenes, like it broke up the pacing really nicely, and you didn't get bored and you weren't like overwhelmed either. The
opening's really good. That is one of the best openings. That's one of the best openings they've had in a Marvel movie in ages.
Yeah,
I was trying to think back to like what was some really good starts to Marvel movies, you know.
I think Guardians of the Galaxy was a good one.
I was trying to think, is it Guardians of the Galaxy 1 or 2?
1, I think.
What happened in the first one? The second one was just when they were fighting some big squid monster or something, wasn't it?
Wasn't it when Peter Quill? Oh no, that was the second one.
That was the second one?
No, that was the second one. When Peter Quill was doing his dancing by shooting.
Oh, yeah. I remember Guardians. It was Guardians too. Yeah, that was a good intro.
Because that's the only thing you can kind of relate, because like as a comical action.
Yeah, true. Yeah, because this is like
all the other ones are a bit more serious. Like the Guardians of the Galaxy has that sort of humor aspect.
Yeah.
Whereas all the other sort of things, like Thor tried it, but it's hit or miss.
Well, it worked in Ragnarok. It was very good. But Love and Thunder was dog.
It was just cringe.
That was so. Oh my! That movie is so cringe.
Yeah. So
it's so bad.
Like I said, the opening was very good. It gets you hooked straight away. Yeah. It's funny. It's not like random. Like there's a purpose to why they started like that. And like I said, there are spoilers. So obviously they said they weren't going to touch Logan. The last was that the last Fox film? I think
no, it was Dark Phoenix.
Oh yeah, it's Dark Phoenix.
Or whether, yeah.
But either way, they said they weren't going to touch Logan in respect to the actual film. But they kind of did, but not to ruin Logan.
Yeah.
It was a funny way to kind of show that Fox Universe's version of Wolverine to come to the MCU in that respect.
Hold on, is in the movie again? Was Deadpool in the same universe as Logan?
Yes, 10-0-5.
Yeah. So because of that, they obviously had to try and involve Wolverine, that version of Wolverine, in this movie. But they did it in such a fun way that it is so ridiculous that you're like, okay, you can take the Logan movie as its own thing and still be satisfied. You know, they didn't want to shit on that ending because the ending of Logan's really good.
Yeah,
and it's still it's one of the best.
Yeah, it kind of summarised that X-Men timeline.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that was supposed to be the ending of the Days of Future Past timeline, I think, when he reset everything. And basically all the original X-Men were back alive again. I think it's that timeline that they used for Logan, which again is Earth 10005. So that's what the Fox universe is. So again, spoilers, this is the same universe that the Marvel's end credit scene is as well, where they showed Monica Rambeau in the X-Men house. Yeah. That is the same universe that Deadpool is in.
But we're probably the only people on the planet that actually watch the Marvels, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anyone else really gave a shit
the
about
Marvels wasn't that bad.
It was fine.
It was just an average
It had a cute cat. It had multiple cats, actually. It had lots of cats. So if you like cats,
there's a very good kitten scene.
Yeah, there's a very good kitten. They're very cute. But back to Deadpool. Great opening shot. Really good action. I'll tell you what I appreciate about Deadpool and Wolverine is it took its time at the start. Like it didn't feel rushed. You slowly understand why Deadpool's in this situation, what's going on, how the TVA and the whole situation with those guys from Loki get involved in this movie. It kind of goes a bit back and forth, but there isn't really a proper villain. There's there is and there isn't, you know.
Yeah, it's not a traditional villain.
No.
Which has been a theme for a lot of recent Marvel films.
It's
not really been like Thanos-esque. Well, Thanos is a bad example. But you know what I mean? Like there's villains.
Yeah.
But there wasn't really a villain.
But it's so funny though, because I thought the villain they had in this movie was more interesting and fun than Kang has been in pretty much most of the stuff he's been in.
But then again, Kang they couldn't really fully develop because they didn't really get anywhere with it.
Yeah, I know.
They tried to use the fun Kang version from Loki as the base, and it only gets worse.
Well, you can definitely tell this is the last big-ish movie until they get to Doomsday. Basically, they're going to start setting up things with Doomsday now. I reckon.
Yeah.
Is there any other Marvel movies are even coming out?
Well, Spider-Man 4 is supposed to be coming out next year. Is it next year or the year after? I can't remember.
We don't even know. By the way, Captain America.
Captain America, which it could go either way.
Yeah.
Could go either way.
Yeah.
We'll come on to that when that comes out.
Yeah.
By the way,
see you 7 months after that movie comes out. By the way, so just wait for that.
But no, Deadpool and Wolverine sets off really well.
Yeah.
They had an interesting way of getting Hugh Jackman to play the Wolverine again without
very different
without
Wolverine
touching his older stuff.
Yeah.
And like I said, if you haven't seen it, they use basically a new worst version of Deadpool of Wolverine even. And it's kind of his redemption arc.
Yeah.
That's how they kind of labelled it. So this is the version of Wolverine they're going to go forward with in the MCU, which is it's because they've gone back to the Fox universe in 10005.
Yeah.
But this will be the MCU version of Deadpool Wolverine going forward.
But do you think we're going to see Wolverine again?
Yes.
But I don't think in a massive capacity.
I think we're in the Avengers film.
There's a small scene of him attacking.
No. I think it'll be predominantly in because they're not going to pay Hugh Jackman to come back to do 10 minutes. Let's be honest.
Well, in an Avengers film they probably would though, because if there's Avengers film, there's so many characters,
very much depends what the plot is.
Yeah.
Very much depends what the plot is and how much involved, who the main characters are, etc., etc. Because remember, they're going to bring back the mutants. This new saga is the mutant saga.
Yeah.
So the X-Men are going to be heavily involved in this, and I think there's going to be an X-Men versus Avengers sort of.
That'd be cool.
Thing.
Yeah. Is that Secret Wars basically?
It might be.
Not quite, yeah.
Because that is a big thing that happens in the comics, is that the Avengers fight the X-Men.
Yeah.
So, I wonder whether that be a separate movie in itself, or be like a theme inside one of the Avengers films. It could be something like that. And obviously they could use Deadpool and Wolverine as like the bridge between mutants and the Avengers.
I tell you what, so we've got to talk about the cameos though, because there's some good cameos in this movie. Beat this. Motherfucking Blade is in this movie. Wesley Snipes' Blade is in this movie, and he is
Did not see that coming.
He is sick. Did you hear about apparently him and Ryan Reynolds didn't get along in Blade Trinity? Like they really didn't like each other. Like,
no, they couldn't work together.
No,
they're both basically. Well, Ryan Reynolds at the time was like up and coming.
Yeah,
and obviously at the time,
Wesley Snipes was quite big at that point. Yeah. So and he's like a method actor and stuff. Who knows
what happened between them? But obviously they made up.
Yeah, it was so sick.
And Ryan Reynolds brought him back, so it was a nice little homage to Wesley Snipes. Especially like the little thing. There'll be one Blade and then Deadpool just looking at the fourth wall. You could see he was smiling underneath his mask. Such a nice little joke to
I really hope that new Blade movie's good.
The whole Blade situation is. But no, other big one, Henry Cavill.
Oh yeah, it's a small one, right? So there's a scene where basically Deadpool's going through all these different Wolverines, and that's what I want to say is that this Wolverine that plays the main role is quite different to the one in like Logan, and quite different to like the old X-Men movies as well. A bit, he's a bit like
he's like in between.
Yeah, he's kind of like he's not super old, but he is like depressed, and feels like shit. But he's not like
the hero, and
he's not. He is a badass, but he's not. He's a bit clumsy at the same time. Like he's not.
Yeah, but he kind of screwed up a lot.
Yeah. He's got a lot of guilt.
That's where his kind of character was in this. Basically, he didn't give a toss about his team.
No.
On the outside, inside he did, but on the outside he had that persona that he didn't care, and that kind of cost him everything because. They didn't really explain, but outsiders attacked the mansion. Was it a school? I can't remember what it was.
I thought it was the mansion.
Is it a mansion? Is it a mansion? I can't remember. Well, it's the
school.
X-Men layer.
Yeah.
And they managed to kill everyone.
Yeah.
So there must have been something strong to kill mutants, but they never elaborated on it, which I guess is a bit of a shame because that's one of the things we'll talk about later. But no, they basically showed this version of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine to be basically a loser.
Yeah.
And
Deadpool's a bit of a loser himself, so it kind of works. They're both just
basically have no purpose anymore. Have ships sailed past their like prime.
Yeah. Like
there's nothing for them to do anymore. So I don't know. Like I said, they had loads of different Wolverine cameos. My favourite again was the Henry Cavill one because if anyone else is going to play.
Huge boy,
Henry Cavill, and again they tossed DC under the rug here.
Oh.
Again, they're basically cussing out DC, saying he should have took care of Henry Cavill better because he was a good actor. He was Superman.
I really enjoyed his Superman as well. Superman. So it's just crazy. I wonder if he actually will get to play like a proper Marvel character. Like,
well, again, he's an expensive actor. That's the problem.
Yeah.
He's kind of on the same sort of level as like. Who would be the equivalent? Maybe like maybe like Benedict Cumberbatch for like Doctor Strange sort of level.
Yeah, it's true.
He'd been an expensive person to have, so that's why you have to
give him a big role.
It's a 10-second cameo.
Yeah,
for that reason, he didn't even say anything.
No,
he did the claws.
Did the claws and just bang. Oh, it's so good.
Big boy.
I love. So they have all the variants to go through Wolverine, but like they have a scene where there's just a shitload of Deadpools.
Yeah,
and that is sick. Like you got baby Deadpool, you've got lady Deadpool, you've got
nice
the cowboy, you got that like futuristic like cyber Deadpool as well.
You got Nice Pool, which doesn't actually regenerate. He dies. Very funny.
That's one of the funniest scenes I think in the movie.
It was very good.
Yeah,
very good.
He's just getting shot to bits. Dog pool.
There's a few others, but I can't remember them come to name. But again,
you have like skull. Like
samurai
skull,
one.
Samurai.
There's a fair few. And they were supposed to like. Take care of Deadpool and Wolverine, and then they saw Pete.
I will say, so looking back, there wasn't too, like, because you asked me after the movie, like, was there anything, like, you expected, like, looking for? It kind of was everything I wanted in the movie, to be honest. Like, my expectations were, like, it's going to be good fun, and it was better than what I thought it was going to be. But looking back now, after sleeping on it, I kind of wish they had a bit more, like, Lady Deadpool in there. or like some of the other Deadpools. I feel they spend a bit more time on this nice Deadpool, and the stuff they do with this nice Deadpool is funny, and the dog one as well. But it's kind of a bit. I feel like there's other Deadpools they could have used probably that would have been a bit more fun or interesting.
Maybe.
You know. But maybe they just didn't know what to do. Like Lady Deadpool is just Deadpool but a woman.
Yeah, and plus it's
same characteristics.
It's
literally his wife as well, and they're just like, what do we do here?
Just give her 2 lines.
Yeah.
And make her walk nice.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's what they had to do.
But no, I know what you mean. Like they could have expanded on a bit more of the other Deadpools. Like they did with the Lokis. They expanded a bit more of the Lokis in the Loki TV.
That's what I was expecting, because they basically go into like the void or whatever, and then what I was expecting was he meets nice Deadpool, or Nice Paul, and then you think that he's going to take them to all the other Deadpools, but then he warns them like, oh, they're crazy, you don't want to go there.
And they turn out to be like the enforcers,
which
is a bit odd.
Yeah, and then they come out later, but like it's literally for like 3 or 4 minute scene.
It was a cool scene.
It was a very cool scene. Probably the best action scene.
It didn't really serve much of a purpose though.
Yeah, it was just eye candy. It was just the cameos, you know.
It was just like, here's all the Deadpools.
Yeah.
You got it's like a fan fest thing. Like it
didn't have like a story part to it.
No.
Like the thing is, when Deadpool's seeing all the other Wolverines, there is a purpose. He's trying to find a. So basically, what Deadpool's trying to do, he's trying to save his universe, and he's told that he's told Logan is like the anchor to like saving it, but Logan's dead. So that his universe is slowly dying.
Which is the Fox one.
Which is the Fox one. So he's trying to find another Wolverine, and that's when you have all the cameos, all the different Wolverines. And
which makes it interesting though, because if Logan is the anchor being for the Fox universe, surely by taking a Wolverine from another universe, that universe will start dying as well then.
That's what I was thinking, yeah, it'd be the opposite. He might be able to save his own, but he's going to kill another universe anyway. So, but he doesn't care.
But they didn't really
elaborate
on that either. No. So whether it's just that version of Logan was an anchor being for that universe, and as long as you have a Wolverine in your universe, then it's okay as a replacement anchor being, or is it that one person across all universes is an anchor being? They didn't really elaborate. I'm guessing it's person specific.
I thought it's specific to that universe.
Yeah, I think it's it makes more sense to be person specific.
Oh, what the hell? Why is it so bright in here? What just happened, bro? Yeah, the battery died, so we had to like swap it out. So yeah, awkward.
His fault.
It's my fault. It's all my fault. It's always my fault.
To where we were.
Back to where we were. Where were we?
So we talked about all the good things about Deadpool. What could have been better? Do you think?
What do I think could have been better? Well, I did mention a little bit about like the Deadpool they chose to like for that whole sort of scene or like part of the story. So they have 2 sort of pseudo villains in it, right? So they have like a proper villain who is Charles Xavier's twin sister, Cassandra Nova, and she's really good.
She's good.
But then you have this British guy who works for the TVA, and he's trying to construct a machine that basically tears timelines, isn't it?
Yeah. Rather than basically before what the TV did was prune it.
Yeah.
So it just it would just all go into the void. This machine basically does that to a universal level. And
I just thought for him he took too much screen time in the movie. I think he wasn't needed to. I feel like he was probably good for the start and the very end of the movie, but he's in like sort of in the middle there. I don't know. He would have been better just for like a few scenes. He didn't need to be in the movie that much. I thought he was a bit of a weak spot because like I feel like the only reason they have him in the movie is because he's got like posh British accent and haha that's funny because he's British. It's just. But for us,
it's a very Ryan Reynolds thing.
Yeah. But for me, I was just like, it's just not that funny, you know. Like
he had a few nice.
He had a few like odd lines here and there.
But no, okay.
So yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of him. And I think that. I'm trying to think now. I honestly, you're not going to like this. It's Gambit's voice. I can't.
No, I didn't like it either.
Oh, you didn't like it either? Okay.
It's just odd. Like, they should just use his normal voice. Like, they tried to make him like Spanish.
I was thinking it's French. I don't even know.
I couldn't even tell. I couldn't even tell what his
accent
accent
was. Like a moron, honestly.
Yeah. Like. I love that Channing Tatum was in it, and he gets his chance to play Gambit. Yeah. But my God, whoever chose his voice, please.
Because the thing is, so you got Wesley Snipes back as Blade, and he was really good. You had Elektra, fine, whatever. Don't really care about that.
I think it was what's the name?
I don't know who the actress.
Something Gardner. She's one from the original Daredevil, which had Ben Affleck in it.
Yeah,
so a long.
It's a shame that we didn't get that. That would have been so
obviously
sick.
Didn't get Ben Affleck back because it would cost too much.
Yeah,
And they kind of made that gag about not bringing in certain characters like Magneto. Because it would have cost too much, basically. So that was funny. I didn't.
Yeah, they did it well.
And then they brought back what's her name? The girl who played.
Oh, X-23. She was good.
Yeah, she was herself.
She was the same character.
Yeah. She wasn't in it too much, but she had enough of a role to kind of like tell Wolverine that no one has ever wanted you to be there. You've always been that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like the thing that to get the Wolverine to go. He's always been one of those characters.
So the only other thing I can think of that I think could have been maybe better is for someone like me who hasn't seen the second film in a long time. And the second film, I feel like it came out a long time ago.
It was 4 years ago, wasn't it?
I thought it was more than that.
I think it was about 4 years ago.
It feels really like ages ago.
Again, they made that gag at the start. It's been a while.
Yeah, and I think like it could have tied a tiny bit better to the second, or like explain it a bit better, because I'd forgotten so much of the second one. Half of the people that are in Deadpool's house, and at the end of the movie, I'm like, I don't even know who half of you are.
Yeah, see,
I literally couldn't remember.
Yeah, I understand, because I only remembered who they were because I literally recently watched it.
Yeah. Because they're not really like
but they're
memorable characters.
Yeah, that's. I don't think they're supposed to be anyway.
I suppose they're just meant to be his friends, I guess. Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Because I know some of those characters were really like the two girls. They were really cool in the second film.
Yeah. I
remember with their powers, right?
The X-Men.
The X-Men.
They are part of the X-Men.
And then you had X-Force, or whatever the hell it was. Yeah. And then you got the big steel guy. What's his name? The Russian guy.
I know who you're about.
Yeah, but he was
Colossus.
cool. Colossus is cool as well. It's really funny as well. So I wanted a bit more of them. I would rather have more of them a bit than the British guy, basically. I feel like they could have done that instead.
Okay, fair enough.
But that's it. What about you?
Like I said before, I alluded to, I think they should have had a bit more to the Wolverine we got's backstory a bit more. Like they kind of showed it a little bit.
Did they even show?
Well, not really sure. They talked about it.
Yeah.
Again, I think it's issues getting those actors to come back.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to pay them. This film was already probably a big budget film.
And they brought Patrick Stewart back for Doctor Strange 2.
Yeah.
So they're not going to bring him back again.
No, it's just overkill at this point.
Yeah.
But like all the other ones from the original X-Men, like the person who played Jean, the person who played Cyclops, they could have brought Halle Berry back. Like I think if they did that, that would have added a bit more to it.
Yeah,
I think it would just meted out a bit more.
I think the problem is though, is like his backstory is kind of one note.
That's the problem.
It had one scene basically. They were alluding to like him, letting his team down, and it was only until Cassandra Nova got into his head that he explained like what had happened basically. And
I wish they showed it as a vision though.
But if they showed it as a vision, you got to get all those actors back in costumes.
But I think the thing is that you could have still done, like you still could have done it without showing their faces.
There are silhouettes or something like that.
Like they did for Peacekeeper or Peacemaker.
Yeah.
With the whole Justice League.
Yeah.
They did it. They didn't show Superman, Wonder Woman, or.
Well, you could just have people who look like them, but just doing from like the side, like falling.
That's what I mean. They could have done something. I think if they added something like that to that part of the film when Cassandra was in his head.
Yeah,
I think that would have added a bit more meat to his backstory in terms of this version of Wolverine.
Because visually, that scene is kind of the most dull scene.
Yeah,
it's just him in the grass field with like tombstones. I know it's meant to be like morbid and depressing, but that scene's kind of long, so it's kind of like
they should have shown something. Yeah, I feel as though. So that was one thing I wanted to see. Otherwise, I wasn't too. I couldn't think of much more major things. I found small nitpicky things. Like they didn't really like show where in the timeline this fitted.
I thought it's not in the sacred timeline.
No, I mean in terms of time,
where it actually happened.
Where it is, like they tell us in the sacred time, but they don't actually tell us where. Yeah, like, they give us a date at the start where it's in 2018, just before Endgame, I think. So all the original characters still alive when he had his meeting with Happy Hogan.
Yeah.
So they kind of alluded to at the start where that part of the film was, but the rest of it, like the timelines where he was going to see the Wolverines, they didn't tell what year they were because it's a bit confusing. In my sort of thinking of where they were, I couldn't work out what they were doing, and I had to kind of watch a video to see what people thought and their theories are. So that's something I think they could have done is a bit more clear where this Deadpool was in the major timeline, in the sacred timeline, before going back to his own Fox Universe timeline.
If I'm really nitpicking, I just thought of one little thing. I think a tiny bit the action relies a little bit too much on slow motion.
Yeah, but that's always been.
I know. They did it a lot of the first.
And that's Sean Levy as well. Sean Levy does that a lot.
Yeah. They did it a lot in the first film.
A fair bit in the second.
And like, to be fair, they did it the best in this movie because they did it with like comedic effect, especially in the opening. But there was like some action scenes where I was just like, did you need to slow that down? But they do it. Sometimes they do it in the right moment, but it's just odd scenes. I'm just like, you need to slow that down.
Yeah, I think it's again comical effect.
Yeah.
They're basically comparing it to Matrix.
So there's one where they both jump out of the back of the bus. Like that is literally been made slow mo just for the fun of it.
Yeah, that was funny.
That was funny
because he didn't see the landing, and he kind of made fun of that for not doing it. So like I said, there's a lot of gags about it. I think they did it on purpose. To an extent.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see what you mean. Like it was a bit. The thing is, it's supposed to be an over the top film.
Did you know the shot where they're fighting all the Deadpools? Did that remind you of the Raid at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, that reminded me of the
Raid
movie.
They look back and they basically were all dead and
they all come back up. It's like,
it's just a massacre. That's what they kind of tried to show.
It's so sick.
But yeah, it was really cool, and I love the fights. The actual fight between Deadpool and Wolverine.
That was sick.
They were all very good.
That was
all very good. Very well choreographed.
Oh.
And the other big cameo we haven't talked about.
Oh yeah.
We've got one more big one. Chris Evans to play one of my favourite characters, which was Johnny Storm from the original Fantastic Four. And that scene where he's going to say the line, Avengers is game on. Such a good part.
That was really good the way they did that.
That gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, that was sick.
So good. And then Deadpool's like, hold on a second, what?
Right, yeah.
And then the post-credit scene. One of the funniest things.
It's a very funny.
It's one of the funniest post-credit things I've seen, and I'm sure Chris Evans. Well, I've read it. Chris Evans really loved that scene because he doesn't really get to do lines like that.
No,
because he does.
He always plays someone good, like really
he
nice.
Does a lot of scenes, a lot of films where it's like PG-13. It's not really him cursing. So he said he memorized his lines to make sure he got the best out of it. Yeah. And the fact that they basically did it was another gag.
Yeah.
That because in the film he said that if you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. He basically said a lot of things about Cassandra Nova's character, and he was like, I never said any of this, and he was trying to blame Deadpool. And then Deadpool, at the end, put a camera up in the cage they were in to record him basically saying it. It was such a good, funny scene.
Oh,
but yeah, Chris Evans is also in it. Again, not for long, because again, big budget would have gone on.
Yeah, but I am surprised, like these cameos, like, they weren't just like they appear for a scene and they're gone. Like Chris Evans is in like a decent 10 minutes of the movie, and Gambit and Elektra and Blade, those guys are in it for a decent.
And X-23.
I keep forgetting X-23.
But no, there's a lot of good points. A few things.
It's just like tiny little things that could be a little bit better.
The overall film was still very good.
Yeah.
And I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was definitely the best Marvel film in a long time.
Yeah.
And the fact that this was an R-rated film kind of shows that if you have good writers, if you have good writers who know what they're doing and have good people who know what they're doing in action scenes, that these sort of films do very well. Yeah. And I think I read today that it's actually passed The Passion of Christ in terms of revenue gained, which has held the record for like 30 odd years or something crazy like that.
Crazy.
So the fact that this film's done that well shows that people loved it, and I'm sure people have been watching more than once. Like
there'll be a new Deadpool. They will make another one.
100%.
They will make a new
100%.
one. Maybe in like 6 years' time, but they will make, when the time's right, they will make a new one.
There will be another good one. And like I said, he's going to be involved with the future projects anyway, because like I said, all the mutant stuff is coming in, and he's technically a mutant. So like I said, Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool and Hugh Jackman as Wolverine are going to be in this going forward. Otherwise, again, Disney wouldn't have bothered paying them, but especially Hugh Jackman, to come back. I don't think they'll pay him to come back to do one film. There's no point.
Yeah, exactly.
So he'll play. What the smart thing would be is to. I can't remember the girl's name. The girl who plays X-23.
Yeah.
Is that?
Well, she's in that universe.
Yeah.
Now.
So they should. The thing they should do is that Hugh Jackman Wolverine passes on the Wolverine mantle to her, and then they use her because she again was a very good actress.
Yeah.
I think she could play the Wolverine character really well. If they use her in future projects.
It's weird though, like imagine, like she was so young in Logan.
Yeah.
And she's
that's how long
now.
it's been.
Yeah, and she's grown up now, but like she still looks as like
she looks the same.
She looks like how she was in that movie, or like at least my memory of how she looks.
But just older.
Yeah.
Her facial features is basically the same. But yeah. That's something they could do. Maybe they will do that. I don't know. I don't think. I think it'd be a huge moment if they did recast Wolverine. I don't think people would like that much. No. Because he's played the character for what, 20 odd years now, Hugh Jackman.
And Ryan Reynolds, they're not going to replace anyone else to do Deadpool.
No. And I don't think Ryan. I think Ryan Reynolds will keep Hugh Jackman around to play with him.
Until he's 90.
Until he's 90.
So there's two numbers in my head for this movie, like going back and forth
on
what I think it should be.
Go on, hit me.
And I'm going to say an 8 or a 9. So we don't do halfsies.
We don't do halfsies.
So where's it leaning? In your
that's
heart?
The funny thing is,
and I find that so tough.
You know what the funny thing is?
What?
I give it an 8.5.
I literally, that's what I think it is. It's literally bang in the middle. That's the tough thing.
Thing is, because it's an 8.5, it has to go up to a 9.
But okay.
But it'd be the lowest 9 that you could give, if that makes sense.
But I'm on the other way, and I'm leaning more towards an 8. Even though
the thing is, it's the scale. It depends what scale we're using. Are we using it as a standalone film, or are we comparing it to all the other Marvel films?
I'm comparing it as a film. If it's a Marvel film, a 9. It's very good.
That's what I'm saying,
right? But as a well, okay. Here's the problem that I have with it is that are you going to watch it again?
Yeah.
You would watch it
again? Yeah.
I don't think I see myself. I'll watch it with like someone who's not seen it before, you know. But I don't feel like I'll go out of my way to watch Deadpool more.
I don't think I'd watch Deadpool 1 and 2 again, but I think I'd watch this one again.
True. I would rather, if I had to pick out of the 3, I would pick this one.
That's why I think, because it's an 8.5, I lean it more towards a 9 because of its watchability. Whereas the other ones, because I gave the original Deadpool an 8.5 as well, but I rounded it down to an 8. Okay. Because it's one of those that you watch it once, and I've not watched it again since. And I rewatch films for a living. Yeah. I love rewatching films, and I haven't watched Deadpool again. Even though it's a very good film. And again, I've rewatched loads of Marvel films again, like The Incredible Hulk. I watched like 6 times. The original Iron Man I watched like 4 times. Like, I rewatch films. That's my thing. But Deadpool, I haven't rewatched.
I haven't rewatched Deadpool. I have watched Deadpool 1 twice. But I haven't watched it in years. Deadpool 2 I watched once. This movie, I mean...
I'd watch it again, honestly, I would. It's one of the few ones that I would watch again.
I watched it
I say few, but it would be one of the films that I would... If I was bored and I wanted to watch a Marvel film that was funny, good action, I'd watch it. If it was on TV, I'd watch it.
Tell you what, let's go with a 9, because Marvel's been absolute dog recently, to be fair. It's either been just bang average or actually just not good.
Which you will see when we do all the reviews we haven't done yet. When we come back to them, you'll see what we mean. You'll see what we mean. We've got a lot of reviews to do on the Marvel films.
Even the latest Ant-Man, that was absolute dog.
Well, it was a 5 out of 10.
I thought it was like a 3. I hated it. I thought it was so shit. And like the first Ant-Man was good. Second one was decent, and then just But I will say this. So we're sitting with a 9 out of 10. Deadpool and Wolverine. But now that there's been 3 of these films, do you think these 3, as a trilogy, let's say, is better than Guardians of the Galaxy or not? Because I compare these 2 quite closely now, because they both got good action, comedy, good characters, storylines. You know, like
it's tough.
It's not Deadpool's not really like has a team, but he always gets people around him, so he kind of does have a team towards like the middle and end of the film. And I feel like you can compare them back and forth.
That's a very tough question.
I feel like Guardians is better as overall.
I think Guardians did well considering it was a PG-13.
Yeah, true. That as well.
And that's why the comical factor was better.
Yeah.
Because when you have an 18-rated film, it's easy to be comical.
Yeah.
Because you can just say what you like.
Yeah.
Everybody laughs at saying F words.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, it's easy. Whereas it's harder to get in this day and age. It's harder to get something that's humorous when you're PG-13.
Yeah.
So based on that, if you're going to compare, I think they're very close. I think the Guardians trilogy is probably an 8.5 overall. Yeah. And I'd say
Deadpool's like an 8. It's the second film that lets it down a little bit.
Yeah, because I'd give the first Deadpool film an 8, the second one a 7, and this one a 9.
Yeah,
that's where I'm kind of leaning.
Yeah.
But the Guardians films, I'd give a 9, an 8, and an 8. I'd say.
Yeah.
Or close enough to that sort of like trilogy sort of numbers.
Also, Guardians had Pac-Man. Guardians 2 had Pac-Man, so you can't do that.
Yeah.
You know.
But yeah, alright, there we are. 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10, Deadpool and Wolverine.
So what's next? Alien.
It's going to be Alien.
We might even have a special guest. We could, potentially.
Oh, not him. Not him. Alright,
we'll see you later. Catch you later.
Peace.
9 out of 10, and we'll be back. Are you serious?